Welcome back to Talking Heads. My name is Michael Rohs. Today I am here with
Colin Blum.
Why don't you tell us a little about yourself, Colin?
I'm a computer engineering major. I'm originally from Connecticut, but I've lived in Ohio for the past 7 years of my life, like Cincinnati area.
I know one thing we kind of wanted to focus on in this episode was music. So I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about how music has helped you just to start us off.
Well, sure. Pretty recently, actually, I went through a period of time where I was, mental health not at its peak.
Yeah.
And music was, obviously I talked to people to help get over that period, but to help deal with the stress of actually having, not going through a great time, music was essentially what helped me get through it. I essentially picked one artist in particular, Rex Orange County. I picked him and he was my comfort.
Yeah.
I just listened to him constantly.
Yeah.
But I started going into different genres of music that I'd never listened to before, or different artists that I'd never found before, and it was just a fun way to help not distract myself, but help deal with the stress.
Absolutely. I know one thing that's really helped me, especially with music, is the lyrics of a lot of different artists. So for context, me and Colin have known each other since 7th grade. So we've
very well acquainted with each other.
So how old were we? 13, 12?
12,
so almost 8 years.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
It is
but
wild.
One artist I really found when I was struggling, especially in high school, was Mac Miller. I love
you
Mac
love
Miller.
Mac Miller.
I listen to Mac Miller all the time. On Spotify, he's been my most my top played artist for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
It's been a lot, but I think the lyrics that a lot of artists like that have can really people don't realize how much it can help.
No, it helps a lot. If you find a song that it doesn't even have to be specifically pertaining to your situation.
Absolutely.
It's just it could be so there's one verse or one few lines that relate to it a little bit, and that they could, it's just you're just kind of wow, that's helps me get through it.
Yeah, even I feel it doesn't even have to be lyrics. I feel even sometimes just this is going to sound very corny,
okay.
but the vibe of the song.
Yeah.
That's
that's the lyrics. I've never been much of a lyric person when it comes to songs. I can listen to a song with terrible lyrics, but as long as it has a good melody or beat, I'm just bopping to it. But if the vibe of the song fits what I'm going through, or just not even what I'm going through, just it fits my current mood, that's when it's the best.
When I feel even for me, one way I used music was a lot when I had anxiety attacks. Was I would it's even a thing now. I know if I have an anxiety attack, if I listen to certain music, it's gonna help me calm down. So I always have headphones in my pocket. No matter where I go, I'm I'm going to have my headphones.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you've experienced type of thing?
Yes, actually. And you're gonna know this now, but if you ever see me randomly with an AirPod in, that means I'm just very anxious at the time because. I just put one in it. I'm not I don't really have anxiety attacks, so I don't think I'm not on the verge of that, but it just helps me calm down and
absolutely
anchor myself.
I feel anything that can help that is always a huge tool to just especially in college, because like you said, you're from out of state. You're not gonna have everything that was maybe anchoring you down back home.
Yeah.
You don't have a place to just go to, and not necessarily just be alone, because you can still find places to be alone. Yeah. But having support from someone, even if it's not face to face, I feel music is a way to feel you're connecting with another person, when in reality it's obviously you're connecting with the artist.
Yeah.
But you're not you don't have to have an uncomfortable conversation if you don't want to have an uncomfortable conversation.
You don't have to connect with them, but you kind of I'm assuming with you, it's probably with Mac Miller, you just hear his voice.
Yeah.
And you're just instantly calm.
Absolutely.
Or you just instantly are I'm in your happy place.
And it's just the power of music. I think once again, it's going to be it's going to sound corny, but music just has so much power, whether it's helping with mental illness or even in different areas. Sometimes you just need sometimes you'll just be having a really bad day, and you're you could listen to one song and it might help, even if it just helps in the slightest. That's so much more than so many other things could do. Yeah. So I feel especially for people that are coming to college, that might not have a support system here, that music's a perfect tool for them.
And it's one of the things they can, especially if they're out of state or something in an area they're not familiar with, it's one of the things they can bring with them from their old life, I guess.
Yeah.
that is the same, and it's just a constant.
Yeah, it's very consistent.
Yeah.
And I know even another thing, like, you can talk with anyone about music.
Literally.
Like, if you find a person who doesn't listen to music, then you might want to find a different person. But like,
Yeah.
it's like, I know one of the first friends I made during orientation, Ashton,
Mm-hmm.
like, we became friends because of music.
Oh, I didn't know
Because
that.
we started talking about music. Like, obviously the conversation
started with Skyline.
Yeah, it started with something completely different. But like, one of the reasons we got really close and like kept in contact, because I did orientation in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So I met her at like my orientation session, but it's like you come down to Lexington for a day and then you go home. Like, so we got like each other's contact information and we continued to talk, like just like texting, Snapchat, whatever. But one thing we really bonded over was music. So like coming to school, knowing another person just because of the music I listened to,
Yeah.
it made me feel so much more comfortable than I was like before orientation.
Yeah.
Especially after orientation, because that was very stressful for me at least.
Yeah. On the same thing with like talking with people about music, it's like I always listen to music, but I was never like that in depth with it. I just kind of listened to what I listened to in the past when I was like younger, whatever was on like my parents had on like the radio station. That's kind of the music I kept listening to. But like recently I've tried to, like I said, get more into music, and like I went and visited one of my friends up at OSU, and I just had a conversation with his roommate about music, which before I never would have been able to have because I wouldn't have known anything about artists, but we talked about different songs that had just come out or different new album, and it was just, it's like fun to have that experience, just to have like a connection with someone that you didn't know before.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like you said, you don't really know his roommate at all, right?
No.
Like going into that,
I didn't. I'd never met him before. I knew his name because he's one of my good friends.
Yeah,
and he told me his name, but I didn't actually know him.
So I think the power of music, not only for mental health, but with connecting with other people, is just like, it's not necessarily that it's under-realized, because I know people do acknowledge that like music is a uniting tool, but like at the same time, I feel like it's still underrated.
Undervalued
Would be a really good word for that. Yeah. I definitely feel like music is undervalued. It looks like we are about out of time.
Okay.
Is there anything you want to add before we sign off?
I guess just like I kind of mentioned it briefly, but if you're going through something, I'd just, at least it worked for me, just finding one artist in particular that you really like listening to, and then they can kind of become your happy place.
Yeah. You can make your own happy place no matter where you are.
Yeah, with music.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Of course, it was fun.
Yeah, that's about it.